The day started off for me with a red breakfast. It's just like the blue breakfast that I had several videos ago, just buttered toast with coffee. But I ran out of the blueberry jam, so I replaced it with cherry jam, and replaced the blue delphinium with red ranunculus. It's just what we needed to start the day. Then Brennan and I headed out to Macy's downtown. I've known for a while now that that location was going out of business and that it would close in March. In fact, today was the very final day of that store, so I just wanted to check it out. I did have something in mind though. I've been watching the rugs there, and every week they seem to go on a further discount. So early in the week they were 80% off, and I was kind of hoping for 90% this time. But when I spoke to the woman who worked there, she assured me that would not happen. They would stay at 80%, and what they didn't sell would get shipped off to other locations. In fact, they were rolling up rugs as we spoke to get shipped out. So I believed her. So we looked through 3 floors, and all of the furnishings were for sale. The racks and the displays and the mannequins. It was kind of sad, kind of weird and uncanny, but also beautiful. Look at these mannequins. I don't teach art anymore. I used to, but if I did, I would tell my students, go to Macy's right now and get these mannequins. The price is incredible, and you could definitely make an interesting installation or sculpture. I mean, I would get this one because for me, it's a Kouros. But I would definitely do something to it to make it more interesting, like saw into it or drill lots of holes and just make it something else. But I'm not a sculptor anymore, so I just left it there at Macy's. But I did see this brass clothing rack. It was all by itself and it looked perfect to me. And I thought, you can always use a clothing rack. And I got it for $15. My spatial awareness is off because I thought for sure it would fit in my car, and it did not even close. But I was able to rope it up to the car rack and drive slowly home. So guess what? Surprise, I got one of those rugs. I got it earlier in the week, just when they went 80% off. Hand knotted in Iran. I just thought I will never see a price like this again, so I had to take advantage of it. And I'm so glad I did. I love this piece. I know that I'm gonna have this for the rest of my life, because the older these rugs get, the more beautiful. In fact, a threadbare Persian rug to me has so much character, and I just can't wait to see how this rug transforms over the years. When I brought it home, I took up the rug that was here before it, which was great. I bought it several years ago at IKEA of all places. It was handmade in Turkey, and I do love it. And Suki, the pug, managed to not pee on it, which is great. She has a little bit of an issue sometimes. But this rug has those wonderful distinctive colors that are very typical of Persian rugs, and I love those reds and oranges. And the wool is plusher, it's more comfortable. So after I give it a good clean, it's full of dog hair, I will put the old IKEA rug somewhere in the house. I still do love it, but for now I put it on that brass clothing rack that I got at Macy's. It'll help me clean it. So having this rug in the living room is definitely creating a specific vibe. a vibe that I love. In fact, it brings me to a very particular time and place. I grew up in Pennsylvania, and near my hometown is a really cool town called New Hope. It was full of cool stores and a theater. I used to go there to go record shopping because they had a store there that had all the imported records from England. And then from New Hope, you can walk across the bridge, cross the Delaware, and then you're in Lambertville, New Jersey. There was a store that I loved going to called the Sojourner. And when I just looked it up now, it's still there, which is wonderful. So if you're in southern New Jersey or in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, check out the Sojourner. Mind you, I haven't been there in like 30 years, but from what I could see in the pictures, it still looks amazing. I remember walking in there, and they were playing the Four Seasons from Vivaldi on the overhead stereo. And they had all of these beautiful textiles and clothes from India and other parts of Asia, as well as musical instruments and decorations. It had such a beautiful worldly vibe. And in one corner was an area with all these trays of beads, and you can buy them and string them into a bracelet or a necklace, which is something I did several times to make gifts for friends. So now I feel I have a little bit more of that Sojourner vibe right in my home. So of course I had to scent the space correctly. So I lit some incense, this time Ulaanbaatar from Asti de Vilat. I've had this box for so many years now, I don't even know how many years, but it never runs out. There are always more sticks in that box. And then I lit a candle. This one is Melograno from Santa Maria Novella. I love the way it looks, and it makes everything smell church-like, which I really like in my home. I'm wearing these turquoise beads, by the way, as a nod to the Sojourner. This necklace was actually a gift from Brennan, and it's by an LA-based jeweler named Matthew Reddy. And to scent myself, I put on Cocoa Kimiya from Atelier des Jours. I'd made a video about this fragrance for TikTok and Instagram a few months ago, and when I smelled it, I said that it reminds me of someone's home that's full of antiques and a threadbare Persian rug, a cat, and a piano. I still think that. When I reviewed this fragrance, I didn't own it because it's quite pricey. But one of the perks of working in perfume, as I do, is you get free stuff sometimes. So the distributor for this brand offered all of us a gratis bottle of our choice for Christmas. And I chose Cocoa Kimiya. Thank you. I'm so happy to have this bottle in my collection. It's named after cocoa, and that is a note in the scent, but don't get me wrong, it's not a gourmand scent. This is not a chocolate cake whatsoever. It's more of a deep, rich cocoa that goes well with more savory notes. There's a nice, cool cardamom in here, which is a bit of a signature for this brand. Several fragrances like Lune Féline and others from Atelier des Jours feature that cardamom. But what I love most about this fragrance is the patchouli. It is a very luxurious, full, rich patchouli smell. I remember learning that at one point, when textiles were sent from India to Europe, that they were packed in patchouli leaves. Because patchouli is so abundant there, and it's a natural insect repellent, so it would protect the cloth. I can just imagine opening these packages and taking out these beautiful textiles and smelling patchouli. And of course, patchouli has its own cultural history because in the 60s, hippies and other subcultures wore patchouli essential oil, just a natural perfume. I had very gothic tendencies as a teenager, and a lot of my friends wore patchouli. And do you know who I think would wear this fragrance really well? Jessica Pratt. She's currently my favorite musician. I've been listening to her non-stop all year. In fact, several months ago, my friend Maddie texted me and she said, "Steve, I just saw Jessica Pratt in concert last night. Do you listen to her? Because she's very you." Maddie, you know me so well. I might have heard one or two songs on the radio over the years, but then I did a deep dive into Jessica Pratt. And it's like this woman got inside of my head and expressed everything I'm feeling through music. Absolutely incredible. I've been listening to all of her records, and the most recent one is called Here in the Pitch. Every song is perfection. There's just this beautiful, wistful melancholy in the way she sings and in the chords that she uses. It's beautiful. And the versatility of her voice. In some songs, she sounds like a perfect 60s girl singer. And then in one song, she's channeling bossa nova, and her voice sounds so much like Astrud Gilberto. She has that vibrato-less, cool sound to her voice. But my favorite song on the album is on side B, and it's called Empires Never Know. There's this muted piano in the background playing these chords, which to me are very reminiscent of Burt Bacharach. And there's just something so beautifully sad about this song. I get lost in it. And of course, it makes so much sense that when I take out the lyric sheet from the sleeve of the record, on the other side is this beautiful picture of a field of red, just like how I'm on a field of red right now. I would like nothing more than to play you some Jessica Pratt right now, but honestly, I'm not sure I'm allowed to, and I don't want to risk having this video be taken down. So please check her out on Spotify or whatever streaming service you listen to, or buy her records. You'll thank me. The videos that accompany these songs are really beautiful, but the one I keep watching is for World on a String. It looks like it was shot on film, maybe a Super 8 camera. And in it, there seems to be a storyline of Jessica Pratt and these other people, and together they look like a cult wandering around a field. Aesthetically, it's so beautiful, and just the way she looks, maybe with her makeup, her hair, her voice, she's giving me Marianne Faithfull in the 60s. And then I thought about that film, Lucifer Rising, that features Marianne Faithfull. It was made by Kenneth, who is one of my favorite artists. I feel that his aesthetic was so particular and so influential. I'd watch his films again and again, especially Scorpio Rising. At one point when I lived in London, there was going to be a big retrospective of his work at a gallery. And I was so excited because even though he's an incredibly influential artist, no one was really talking about him at that moment. So I was so excited to see the show and possibly meet him. But unfortunately, I was out of town the weekend the show opened. But I had friends who worked at the gallery, and they so sweetly had him sign a catalog for me. And I treasure this catalog. Now, fast forward a few years, and I actually did get to meet Kenneth, but in a different set of circumstances. I had a job working at Toshin Books in Beverly Hills. It was kind of my introduction to retail, not counting my 7-Eleven job as a teenager. And this is right before I started working in Perfume. And one day, Kenneth walks into the store looking at the books. I think he was actually talking to Benedict Toshin at the time about doing a book about his work. And there he was, standing in the store, wearing a polyester suit. And I thought, I'm standing next to Kenneth. This is incredible. We just had a normal sales associate-customer relationship happening that day. And I'm glad we did. I can say that I've met Kenneth and I didn't act weird. So after we got back from Macy's, we dropped off the clothing rack and got back into the car and headed up to Glendale because there was something I had in mind that I wanted to pick up for Brennan's birthday. And in the car, I smelled like patchouli, and we listened to Jessica Pratt.